All of you, if you're not African or of African descent, you're an African export, because nobody on Earth today cannot say that Africa was their mother continent. You know, the science is settled. Africa is where the human story begins.
Most of us were taught that African history began with a ship and a cage. We were told of a dark continent waiting to be discovered, a land of tribes with no cities, no science, and no stories worth writing down. But what if I told you that while London was a village of thievery and murder, a West African city was being built with a mathematical precision that would baffle modern engineers? Or that the richest man to ever walk the earth wasn't a tech tycoon from Silicon Valley, but a king from Mali who crashed the global economy just by being generous? Today, we're closing the textbooks and opening the vault. This is what they never taught you in school about Africa. Imagine a city where every street is a mirror of the universe. In the Kingdom of Benin, modern-day Nigeria, the Edo people didn't just build a capital, they built a masterpiece of fractal design. Long before computers, they used complex mathematics to repeat patterns from the king's palace down to the smallest house. It was a city of 30-foot wide streets lit by street lamps and protected by walls 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China. When European explorers first arrived in the 1600s, they didn't find primitive huts. They found a metropolis so clean and organized that it made Amsterdam look like a slum. Yet, in most history books, this 16,000 kilometer feat of engineering is barely a footnote. Now let's talk about money. When you think of the wealthiest person in history, you probably think of Musk or Bezos. You're off by several $100 billion. Meet Mansa Musa. In 1324, the Emperor of Mali set off on a 4,000-mile pilgrimage to Mecca. He didn't go alone. He brought 60,000 people and dozens of camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of pure gold.
And he went with such a huge entourage because he was fabulously wealthy. He had something like 12,000 members of his own household, 600 personal servants, 60,000 porters. He had 100 camels bearing between 10 to 20 tons of gold. And on his way back, he stopped off in Cairo and spent so much money, gave away so much gold as well, that the price of gold globally plummeted by 25%.
He handed out so much gold in Cairo that he actually caused a mass inflation crisis that lasted for 12 years. He was so wealthy that he didn't just own the market, he was the market. But Musa didn't just spend, he built. He turned Timbuktu into a global hub for science and law, housing libraries with hundreds of thousands of manuscripts. While Europe was in the Dark Ages, Africa was the world's university. Finally, let's go east. While the Roman Empire was at its peak, it had a rival it couldn't conquer, the Kingdom of Aksum. Located in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, Aksum was one of the 4 great powers of the world, alongside Rome, Persia, and China. They minted their own gold coins, developed their own script, and were among the first nations in the world to adopt Christianity. They were the masters of the Red Sea trade, connecting the Mediterranean to India. They didn't just participate in global history, they sat at the head of the table. So why weren't we taught this? Because stories are power, and for a long time the world tried to take that power away. Africa's past isn't just about what was lost, it's about what was built, dreamed, and achieved. The dark continent was always full of light. We just had to look in the right places. If you learned something from this short video, do hit that subscribe button, because there are a lot more stories they forgot to tell us, and we will be telling them all on this channel.